Namaste. I'm Stephen Sadler, the director of the Self-Awareness Institute and a apostle of Yogi-Raj Vettatri Maharishi. And it is in honor of him that Peace Day TV and I, on behalf of the Self-Awareness Institute, want to welcome you into this series on Simplified Kundalini Yoga of Vettatri Maharishi. So here we're learning the science of the self. Here we're learning what had been taught for thousands of years, passed on from guru to chela, from teacher to student, on for generations. And with Swamiji's help, taking this information not only from antiquity and the complexities of the science of Kundalini and making it so simple and bringing it into a modern age, bringing it into a Western civilization and lifestyle. So it becomes a very practical tool, not only for finding greater clarity and happiness and peace, because we're connecting with the source of life within us, that is us. So we all know that the source of happiness lies within. We all know the source of peace lie within. We all know the answers lie within. We kind of innately all know this, yet most of us don't have access to that inner knowing and that inner peace and that wellspring of love. It For most human beings, it's fleeting and temporal. And so we're trying to find that or maintain that. And that's what this discipline, or this, what I like to think of as the science of Kundalini Yoga, is teaching us. How do we connect? How do we develop that connection? How do we expand and develop our body and mind to be a greater vehicle for our own indwelling spirit, for our spiritual nature, not only to be realized, but exalted and be expressed through what we think and say and do. And in so doing, we are recalibrating. We're shifting our calibrated level of consciousness. We're raising our vibration. We're exuding more life force energy and exuding at a higher level of consciousness. And so there's a science to this, and mankind has now come to this point in its own evolution where we are now in mass beginning to realize the true nature of ourself. So this is something that's happening globally, all over the world, and now through the internet, is we're being led intuitively or innately to the people, the places, the opportunities, the resources that will enable us to take that next step. So first, I want to begin by acknowledging you and invite you to look within yourself to connect with that part of you that knows that it wants to evolve. It wants to develop. It wants itself further. It wants to enlighten. It's deep, deep down at the very core of your being, there's some part of you that has got your mind's attention at this moment and that led you to be listening to me. So the same volition that's speaking through me is listening through you. Or another way to look at it is the same volition brought all of us to this broadcast so we could reflect on this. And the reflection of the nature of yourself, when you, in and of itself, awakens consciousness. So what we've been talking about over the last 5 lectures is how to awaken consciousness. And Swamiji has given us this rich material and a set of tools to enable us to further develop our consciousness and develop our mind so it's a greater instrument for our own innate intelligence or spirit to guide us so that it's moving through what we think. We're thinking higher thoughts. And so this particular lecture, we're now on number 6, which is the neutralization of anger, is really all about becoming more conscious of what we're thinking. So we're becoming more conscious of how conscious we are. The more conscious we are of how conscious we are, or in what state of consciousness we're in, the more conscious we're going to be. So we can evolve ourselves. We can become more conscious by being conscious of how conscious we are, and by being conscious of the fact that we can evolve ourselves to become more conscious. And I would add, by realizing that it does not serve us anymore to go unconscious. Unconscious creates pain and suffering. It's when we miss opportunities, make mistakes, say and do things we wish we hadn't afterwards. It's all the result of going unconscious. In other words, mental programming, behavioral reflexes, and mental behavior patterns, all the different kinds of programming in our neural network and in our nervous system. So we might have a knee-jerk reaction to get angry. So Swamiji is going to show us how to neutralize these anchor imprints and essentially reprogram our brain. Learn how to develop the neural networks so they work with the greatest efficiency. So the beautiful thing about Swamiji, what I loved about this, the guru, is he was not only so sweet and loving and compassionate, and yet seemed so grounded and balanced and able to live in life. And yet there was this beauty and this simplicity. Just looking at anger as an example. It's an energy, we all feel it, it brings us down. Anger is a clear sign. Anybody recognizing that they are angry will recognize they're in a denser, heavier, unpleasant state. It's clearly a lower state of consciousness. You don't need to have some kind of psychic attunement to recognize the depth of the negativity to anger. And anger can be at different intensities too. But it doesn't help you to be in an angry state. Yet we all have programming where we do get angry. And sometimes there might even be an occasion where you need to get angry, or you need to pay attention to your anger. I think we look at our emotions not so much in terms of being a right or wrong to it, as them pointing out something. Again, the principles of attraction and repulsion, pleasure and pain as teachers and guides for us as we learn and grow and evolve, realizing, I don't know about you, but I spent years of suffering and pain, and it did not work for me. And when I started realizing I could be in another state of consciousness, like Swamiji showed me, and live in this bliss, my mind just had to get used to it. And it didn't believe it at first. You kind of had to let go and let the love happen, let the love out. But you also had to direct your mind so that it didn't have those knee-jerk reactions, say, to get angry, or to feel unloved or unworthy, or to get fearful, or whatever else our mind, heaven knows what it might do if left alone to just think on its own. And that's why being conscious to a large extent is learning how to direct your mind. So kind of like teaching a child. If you think of your brain as a 6-year-old, you need to be attentive to its needs and be watching it so it doesn't get into trouble, and be directing and guiding it all the time. There's a certain amount of oversight that your own higher consciousness needs to have over your own mental functions. This rudimentary system of understanding that's still our brain. It's still a machine. It's not what we are. So I'm going to invite you into this present moment. Let's just step out of our day. Let's step out of what was or will be. Any thoughts that you've been occurring, any fears or anger, any resistance to, let's just let go of it and unbutton whatever your burden has been. Just take it off like a garment. And let's all slip into the hot tub or this jacuzzi of consciousness together. So I use the image and invite you to share this image of us floating in a warm, bubbly hot tub together. Like brothers and sisters, just in a loving space, or as friends, spiritual friends. And in the presence of God, realizing that that which causes life within us is us. The purpose of the meditation is not for us to try and attain something that we don't have, but in order for our mind and body to connect with that which we already are. For your true self is already realized. Your spirit, whether your mind understands what that is or not yet, that's what you are. Your spirit doesn't have to realize yourself. Only your mind is coming to the realization of yourself. So think about this as a baby. If you hold any baby, and any baby is just cute and lovable, isn't it? So go ahead, let's step into the hot tub, and be careful with your baby. You don't want to overheat it. But as you're sitting here floating in this feeling, a bubbly feeling, so you can allow all the tension to just melt off your back. Just feel your neck and shoulders relaxing, and your head relaxing, and your mind relaxing. And if you think about it, if you look at a baby, it doesn't have an idea of who or what it is just yet. It's just beginning to make associations with the mommy and a daddy, and what it likes and doesn't like to eat, and so forth. But it begins to believe it's a boy or a girl, or a Christian or a Jew, or a Muslim or a Hindu, or an American, or British, or whatever. whatever other, we start to identify, I'm with this church, this is my political belief, and different life experiences create this matrix of imprints in our brain. We're simply downloading data through our eyes and ears and senses that is forming this matrix that we consider our personality and our character and our persona, and our brain thinks that's us. But that isn't you, and this is what you've come to realize. This is what you're awakening from. And then when your mind is just processing the thoughts based on the imprints that have been downloaded into your neural networks, creating these thought forms, your brain starts to live as though those thought forms are you and your life. And this is how we forget the true nature of ourselves. So we want to be looking at our mind and saying, well, what is it projecting? And who is that, or what is that can observe our own mind? Because from this place of being the witness, or from being at a higher level of consciousness, you can look at your mind and say, look, what are you doing? There's no purpose in getting angry. Or whatever that negative emotion is, whatever that is that's taking you out of your pristine state of peace. And maybe there's something that needs to be looked at. So all the emotions are pointing out whatever it is that we need to see, which is then helping us look at whatever it is we need to let go of so we can be at peace again. So it's usually our attachments, our desires, like we talked about in the talking about Swamiji's lectures on desires, and how to be able to neutralize any negative attachments, because that's what causes pain a lot of times. Is we're attached to something we want or think we want, or a way something has to happen, or an opinion or an idea or a belief. And a lot of times it's just shifting our perspective or gaining a perspective by looking at other perspectives, by stepping out of our mind and the whole story we've invested in about it, or the defense mechanism we have around it. See, the mind will trick itself so that we never have to look at some of the things we most need to see. And this is part of why you need a teacher. But right now what we're going to do is simply look at our brain as a machine and look at what's coming out of it, as if you were the engineer of a radio station and you, or the broadcaster, and you had to watch and pay attention to everything that was being transmitted. Your own body, your thoughts, your feelings, your body channels and directs energy out into the world around you. So a tool you have and that you can develop is simply to sit and watch your mind and say, what am I thinking? And if I'm angry, well, first of all, realize it's just something your neurons are doing. That's all it is. You can make it as big or a little a deal as you want to make it. But the net factual result of what's happening is there's energy moving through neural networks in your brain. Usually there's places where anger is associated, so it could trigger all kinds of other associative memories that kind of exaggerate the intensity of the anger. Sometimes we'll hold energy inside and then it gets a chance to be released. And so what you want to do is be able to sit back and become the witness or observer to whatever your mind is doing and say, well, what is it that it does? And let's look at what it does. What are the things we want to be looking for? Are we going through feeling unworthy, guilty, or ashamed? Those are some of the lowest energy fields, like Dr. David Hawkins discusses in his Power versus Force in the Eye of the Eye. There are these different levels of consciousness, and you can feel the gradients. If you look at the electromagnetic field, what Swamiji would call the biomagnetism, around a person, you will see someone in a state of feeling unworthy or guilty will have a very low and dense energy. Someone angry will have a dense energy. You can see this, almost the spikiness. It almost looks angry. Fear has a low energy. So different states, unworthiness, feeling guilt and shame, those are amongst the lowest. Some kind of deep sadness and grief, that's the next lowest. Some kind of a fear, and fear again is something we conjure in our mind. It's all a false expectation that appears real. There's something our mind is making it to be that creates a reaction in our body. And sitting back as the witness, we can start to look at these cause-effect relationships, look at the neural networking, and create new thought forms to replace the old ones. Another area is anger. So maybe not as low a state of consciousness anger as say fear and grief or unworthiness is, but it can be very intense. And anger can show up as jealousy and envy and other forms, of course. But we want to watch that within ourselves. And we need to look at, well, what's it doing to me? Because once you get angry, what it really is saying is, wherever there's anger, there's a need for love. That's the easiest way to kind of feel your way through this, is whenever there's anger, there's a need for love. So if you go through life and either you feel angry or you see someone else that is angry, you have something you can do energetically, because all anger is energy, and you can move energy from one gradient to another. You can channel your own energy. You can recalibrate any energy. You just take energy and move it to where you want, and that's where you're empowered. That's what you're learning, is how do you stay in those higher states and not get caught, say, in anger? Or if you do get caught, at least you catch it quicker. You don't get as caught as often. You don't stay caught in that mental program or reaction for as long. It's not as intense. This is the result of becoming more conscious. So everyone listening to me or watching, I want you to take a deep breath and just say, well, where in my life am I getting caught? Where, especially with anger. And then next to anger is pride. So these are what we might think of as the passions of the mind that all the great spiritual teachers through different laws and scriptures have always tried to show us, that there are certain actions that are unacceptable in society, and there are certain acts and deeds that we just know innately aren't right. And there's certain ways of thinking we know bring us down, and yet some people don't know that they can change their programming so they don't get they don't fall victim into these negative states or conditioning. See, this mental negative conditioning isn't necessary. And so I want to invite you to take a deep breath as we're sitting here in the jacuzzi of consciousness, just soaking in this feeling and soaking up this idea of our own spiritual identity, and seeing the mind and body as a tool or a vehicle for our own indwelling spirit to shine forth and guide us, and to cleanse ourselves. And then through what we think and say and do, it begins to cleanse the area around us too. You see, so we're bringing in that light. We're bringing in that higher level of consciousness, both just energetically through the fields that you're generating, but also through what you're thinking and saying and doing. It changes your life. A life in awareness is a life with more joy and peace and more fulfillment. So these are practical tools you can bring into your business and bring into your family. It's all about looking at your own mind and saying, what is it doing? Is my machine functioning? So we look at our mind and we look at this neutralization of anger that Swamiji is telling us about, from the place of being the consciousness, observing our mind as if it was a machine, just like a computer, and just deciding we need to reprogram it. We need to redirect it. So sit back in the jacuzzi, roll your eyes up, gaze into the dark screen of your mind, and as you breathe out, just completely relax. So we come back again with each lecture to these two principles. One is consciousness and one is energy. One is Shiva, one is Shakti. And so there is consciousness itself, and we're becoming more conscious of our consciousness. And then there is Shakti, which is energy, and we're building up and connecting with and developing that connection with energy, the energy within us, the energy around us. And so I'm going to guide you energetically. I want to invite you to just sit back and feel the energy in your nervous system, feel it in your chi, feel it in the electromagnetic fields around your body, and now feel it flowing between you and me. So there'll be an energy coming through the sound of my voice and our sight, and the thought of us being together connects us to another level, just like going from the AM dial to the FM dial. We're going to start tuning into these more subtle energies. So first, feel it in your own body. Feel it in your nervous system. Realize you have energy in your nervous system. through your nerves. Matter of fact, one thing we always like to do is make a fist and curl our toes. Just send a signal through our extremities, cause the contraction in the hand and feet. And now release that tension. So that simple act not only creates a relaxation response in your body, but it also drives home the point about how an electric current just flew through your arms and legs to your toes and hands. So this is the idea that there is an electrical current running. There's also chi. There's also fields running through areas of low resistance and high connectivity. So I want to invite you to, as we're sitting here just kind of floating in the jacuzzi, getting high on God, I want to invite you to feel the energy in your nervous system and see if you can feel it in your chi. See if you can feel the subtle energies that are cycling through your body. And now imagine the electromagnetic fields around your body. So just like in a bar magnet, there's a positive charge at the top of your head, there's a negative charge at the bottom of your tailbone, and there's an electromagnetic field. A toroidal field comes up from the center, up out like a sprinkler out of the top of your head, through your crown chakra. It comes around and envelops your entire body, and then comes back up through the tailbone, near your anus. So this is the negative charge. And this is the field of energy awareness around your body. And this is what we're meditating on. So even as I'm speaking to you, before we close our eyes and then go into a deeper stage of meditation, I want to invite you to just observe the sensation in your body. And if you like, put your hands up for a minute. And just see if you can connect energetically. So the secret of the siddhas in this path is to connect energetically. To learn to tune into higher states. Because we're all receivers and we're all transmitters. And so my job is to train you to move into whatever that next state is for you. You've already enlightened, you've already evolved to a certain point, but what's the next level? And how much more help or love or support do you need? Because we're here to help each other. So just breathe in and know you're loved. Open your heart to receive that, and as you breathe out, I invite you to close your eyes for just a moment. And just tune into the sensation or feeling in your body. So the great gift we have is that this life force current is always within us. This source of happiness and peace is always within us. The love that we're looking for already lies within us, and this is how you access it. And if you really want to dial in, you can always look at your third eye. So this is what we've been doing and we'll do later in this class. But I want to invite you to simply, without trying to meditate, just allow yourself to be meditated. So in other words, you simply put your attention on the feeling, and the feeling feels good, and the more you put your attention on the good feeling, the better it gets, until you start getting this floaty, blissful feeling. It's like getting high. You get a God buzz, a natural high. And so this is the way the divine welcomes us in. It's an opening of the heart. It's a feeling of love. So love is spirit in expression. And so the closer you get to God, the more love you feel. So I want to invite you to breathe in and just open your heart. And as you breathe out, just let go. And one of the things we can do to open our heart is forgiveness. And this is in the spirit of 12-12-12 and looking at the end of the year 2012 and into 2013. And looking at a kind of resurgence in the ideal of bringing peace on earth and goodwill towards man. The end of an old paradigm, the beginning of a new, the beginning of a world of peace. As in Peace Day TV. So we're all dedicated to raising the consciousness of the planet so we can all live together in happiness and peace. Here's a tool we have to do it. By connecting with the energy and developing this life force current, the Shakti, you will accelerate your growth. You will be raised to a higher level of consciousness. That makes you more powerful. It makes you a stronger conductor. It enables you to bring more light into this world. And you have been called, or you wouldn't be listening to me right now. So it's a sacred moment when you reflect and realize that you have been called. But the reason you're listening to me in this moment is because something is registering within you in this moment where you see you're playing a part in something bigger than yourself. You're part of a movement that is changing the world. But what tools and training you need? Swamiji gives us some gems. And one is, he says, make a list of the persons that you're angry with. And I've also noticed you might want to put that name on an altar, say. Or in addition to the name, put a picture of the person that you're angry with on your altar. And just every day send them love. And even if you can only love them 1%, just send that 1%. And then the second day, do it again. And that's 1%, which is 2%. And the idea is you just keep blessing, and you ask a higher power, you ask the divine to step in to help you and to heal you and to expand your capacity to both feel love and to share love. So this is a prayer. And so I'd invite you to join me. Matter of fact, take a deep breath and say, Lord, help me to be a pure vehicle for your love and light and wisdom. I want to bring more love into the world. I want to feel more love. I want to share more love. I want to move beyond my resistance and my limitations and my fears. I want to help others to do so. I'd love to live in a world with more love, wouldn't you? So let's just breathe in and hold that space. Take a deep breath. And so if we're holding anger or resentment to somebody else, we need to clear that out to be a clearer vehicle. So let's just forgive right now everybody that you're angry with. Perhaps you're angry with your mother or your father. Somebody violated you when you were younger. Somebody took advantage of you. Not to make light of your life experience, but I just want to invite you to let go of that. It doesn't serve you anymore to carry it into the world, except you'll have that cautionary note. But remember, you're protected and guided by the divine in all your activities, day and night, in all places. And just let that be in your field. So you're creating and setting off a whole new mindset of being protected and guided. So the first thing we want to do is think of the people we're angry with or need to forgive. Then we need to forgive them and practice that and just send love. And if I've insulted you or said anything that hurt you, I ask you to forgive me. And let's just feel a forgiveness, even for the people we think are evil throughout history. The other political party, or, those that are the oppressors, whoever those people are. Let's just send love to every man and woman in existence. And forgive them. Because really, everyone's doing the best they can do. Most people are operating under mental programming. They haven't awakened to a higher consciousness. That's what you're here for. That's what we're here for. So the first step is make a list of people you are either angry with or need to forgive, and forgive them. The second step is ask yourself, why do I get angry with this person? Understand your programming, in other words. Well, what is it that makes you angry, and why do you? And maybe think about another option, another perception, another way of looking at it, looking at other perspectives. Not having to be right, maybe just give that up. Or having to make someone else wrong. Or just realizing it's their perception. Maybe you need to communicate better too, but the point is, what are you contributing to exacerbate the negative energy? You want to take responsibility too for your own state of consciousness, and not make yourself a victim, not blame another person for how you feel. You have a choice what state of mind to be in. So you use the anger as a wake-up call. So you can ask yourself, what state am I in? And you don't get caught in the anger. You don't respond in anger. So the first laws in the path of Ashtanga, the 8-limb path to God realization, the first is yama, which means restraint. And the first restraint is ahimsa, which means peace or nonviolence. And so this practice of neutralization of anger addresses the very foundation of yoga. It's really learning to find peace within yourself and for yourself, as well as compassion for others, and to bring that love and understanding and that patience sometimes. And just really understanding that most people are still asleep and they're just operating under their programming, and if they're getting angry, they just need love. So we've got to be able to not react when somebody's angry by being angry back at them or having to get defensive with them or engage at that level. We've got to learn to go, okay, that's a low vibration. I need to shift my energy and just take that energy that's being thrown at you and send it up the spine, so to speak, to these higher levels of consciousness and say, this person needs my love and compassion. And that's like a fire hose that just starts to put out the fire. Love is more powerful. And so this is what we're here to learn. This is what we're here to teach. What have you, number 3, what have you contributed to the problem? Swamiji asks us to ask ourselves. What are you doing so that you're getting angry? Or they're doing whatever they're doing or saying whatever they're saying to make you angry? And if you knew that they were probably going to say or do whatever that is that's making you angry, why did you go through the motions or have to say what you said? Or, what part are you participating? Most people are unconscious of their own participation in the system that they're embroiled in that is bringing them into a lower state of consciousness. And so by awakening consciousness, by developing your conscious awareness, you can look at the programming and say, I'm not going to be in that state. I don't want to succumb to what state they're at. I'm here to rise above and to bring the conversation back up, out of jealousy, out of anger, out of fear, out of hate, out of prejudice. This is how the greatest changes in our society have occurred, is through more acceptance and understanding, compassion for other people. And this is just the beginning. So number 4 is, what have I done to rectify the mistake? Have you sought a resolution of forgiveness? Have you asked to be forgiven for your own participation in the program without trying to make the other wrong? Saying, look, I may not be fully conscious of what it is I'm doing to contribute to this, but I'm sorry for whatever part I'm playing. And come in a place of compassion and understanding that other people have a perspective that you just may not see yet. And that even if they're completely wrong, it's still their reality. The point isn't being right or wrong. The point is, where's the love? It's all about love. Love is ultimately all that matters. So if there's one thing you get out of this class, is really understanding that love is the law. Love is the teaching. Love is what we're all trying to connect with. Love is what we're trying to bring through what we think and what we say and what we do. And so we can share it with everyone we see, everywhere we go, all the time, every day. And if we're in an anger mode that's pulling us down, that's dimming our light, that's keeping us from the fulfillment of our purpose, you see. And then number 5 is, does being angry help? And I think you'd have to admit, at least, does anger ever help? If you're truly angry, I don't know that ever helps. Sometimes maybe raising your voice or letting people know you're not going to get stepped on might be helpful, but certainly not staying in anger. We got to remember that all emotions, maybe when something comes up, if we look at the situation as a way to test us, it's a way we're feeling out our environment. If we're here to learn and grow and evolve, we're being attracted to some forces and repulsed by others. So anger and negativity, and we'll call it the passions of the mind, show up because they're teaching us something about ourselves. They're pointing out whatever it is we need to see so we can let go of it and move on and live in a higher state, not go back into our old program. We see we're a new program, a new loop. So when you find a loop, such as an anger loop, and you see why you're getting angry and what it's about, think about, well, what would be a new loop? What would be a new programming? What would be a new way to condition my brain? What's a new perspective? What's a new attitude? What's a new perspective? How should I look at this? How should I feel about it? What works? I mean, it's your choice. You decide what you want to think, how to feel. And this is what empowers you. This is what's taking you to a higher level of consciousness. This is taking you to the less than 1% of the entire world population that has the ability to do this. So I want you to just breathe in right now and reflect on what we're talking about, even. The idea of looking at neural networks and the certain mesh or configuration the associative patterns we have in our brain based on our life experience, based on the thought forms that were created through the senses, taking in data through our eyes and our ears. And if we look at the brain and say, okay, there's a configuration, and we say some of that works really well and some of that doesn't. But I am not the brain itself. I am the consciousness itself, and I can reconfigure the neurons. I can comb them, like taking knots out of your hair. And that's what our thinking does. If we're kind of streaming through our thoughts, we're looking at where there's tangles. We're looking at where there's places that cause a disruption in our flow, a discord, a dis-ease. And we're moving out of those patterns and creating new ones. So doesn't that make sense? Do you see the science in it? Do you see the simplicity and yet the beauty of the practice? It's really a matter of observing how your own brain works, understanding your own mental conditioning, and seeing the way out of the old conditioning and how to create new conditioning so that you can have a better life. So I invite everyone to take a step back in your mind, roll your eyes up, and now close your eyes. And let's just imagine we're all floating in this hot tub or this jacuzzi of consciousness. And there's a warm, bubbly feeling soaking in. So your muscles are getting warm and your mind is relaxing. And we don't have to think about a thing. We can just relax now and enjoy the fellowship, the spiritual communion, even through technology. So breathe in and know that all of us that are connected with this are part of a growing mass of people that are awakening. So I want you to breathe in and connect with the part of you that is awakening and is guiding you to your full enlightenment, to full mastery. And let me show you the way to some of these higher states. And as you breathe out, just let go. Let go of the effort. Let go of the resistance. Let go of the fear. Let go of what you know, what you don't know. Just let go. So you can just relax like you're getting a massage and just hear the sound of my voice massaging your neurons, just relaxing your mind. And breathe in and feel the life force. So we'd mentioned in earlier lectures how there are these toroidal fields around your body, around every cell in your tissues, in your body, around the earth itself, coming out of the North Pole, the light reflecting on them. We call the aurora borealis. As this energy comes up and out like a halo and around the globe and back under the South Pole. And the same kind of thing happens around the sun and throughout the galaxy and throughout the universe. So there are fields within fields within fields, all conducting the consciousness at different stratums or gradients. So as you breathe in, you're actually drawing in this electromagnetic field of energy awareness, the consciousness of the earth itself, the Gaiam. And I want to invite you to breathe in and connect with that and just feel that and feel your heart opening to receive that. For the more open you are to receive, the more you will receive. So use your brain like a tuner. Think of your spine as an antenna and just connect with this life force energy within yourself. Breathe in and feel the prana, the energy field, the vital air is being drawn into your lungs. And as you breathe out, feel this energy cycling through your nervous system and chi and electromagnetism. So just be the energy. See if you can tune into the energy in your body, and then bring your hands up and see if you can feel it being conducted through the air. And pick it up like your palms are little satellite dishes. And so you're just trying to pick up a transmission. And that's exactly what happens. And you can pick up on this field 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what I did with my teacher. We're all psychically connected, in other words. And so I want to help you learn to move into higher levels and fields. Well, you can literally feel your way through it. You just tune in. It's okay. That feels good. I like this feeling. You get used to being in it. You get practice being here. So breathe in and just try. It's just love. It's like my senses. I traveled the world trying to find this, and was fortunate to be given the guidance to find it within myself. Now I want to share with you what Swamiji shared with me and with Stephen, with all the thousands of others out there that were blessed to study with the Maharishi. I want you to breathe in and take advantage of it, because we're all connecting with it now. The same lineage moves through all of us. The same spirit moves through everything. We are all one. And that's very much what this whole movement is. This is what 12-12-12 is about, and the solstice and the bringing on of a whole new age. It's all about connecting. So now you're connecting. So here's the way to find it. Now bring your hands down and roll your eyes up and just feel the energy moving through you right now. So the third eye meditation focalizes your attention at the point between the eyebrows. This is invoking a relaxation response. It's like flicking the light switch on. When your eyeballs roll up, it's like flicking the light up. A little current opens up and it begins to cycle the energy more. So it's like turning on a light. So this third eye point is now engaged and this energy is moving up. And so it's not necessary that you feel energy moving up your spine, but you might just imagine it or recognize or at least know that it comes from the root chakra, the Muladhara, and it's going to come up through Svajrasthana, up near the navel, and then Manipuram here in the solar plexus, and then Anahat in the heart center, and then Vishuddha in the throat. And you might think of this whole configuration kind of like the threads on a rope, and at the ends of the rope, perhaps the rope gets frayed, and these ends kind of extend out like the dome of an oak tree. Well, in your own brain, this light and this energy is coming up from the spinal column and a nerve ganglia called the pons in the center of your head, and above that lies the hypothalamus. So just imagine in your mind's eye that there's a little walnut-sized organ right in the center of your head, and your whole brain sits on top of it. And another organ kind of pulls the fibers like a comb that drags in hair together to make a braid. It pulls in these nerve fibers from the left and right hemispheres to bring them into the hypothalamus, and so there's the hypothalamus, the corpus callosum, and above that the neocortex. It's called a mesh of nerve fibers all crumpled together in a mirrored image in the left and right hemispheres. And this is what we call the brain, and it's made up of billions of little neurons that look like globular sea urchins with little soft spines that stick out that are called axons and dendrites. And where they connect, a bond is formed called a synapse. It's a chemical bond that enables signals to be sent from one neuron to another. So each neuron can be likened to a PC on the World Wide Web. So you have a World Wide Web of brain cells all connected, sharing communication, networking in certain ways. And so sit back and observe your mind in that way. And what happens is, as we're looking at the point between the eyebrows, first we engage the spirit direct. So we're not trying to attain anything anymore. Now we're it. Now we're plugged in. It's like when you put your phone back on the base of the stand to recharge it. When you look into your third eye, you plug into Source itself. The Sat Guru is within you. And so here's a way that you get that direct plug-in. And through that direct connection, you will be guided. You'll be guided by your own innate intelligence, or the spirit that you are, because now spirit can guide your mind. And I can help you. So I come as a brother to help you get connected or help you take it up a notch. If you're not used to being in higher states, how do you know to get there? But if you come with me, if you let me share my state with you, so to speak, if you connect with the energy that I'm transmitting, since I've been trained to transmit at different levels, then you will start to be able to pick up on these different frequencies, especially when we get to the higher and subtle frequencies or trans-dimensional planes. You've got to have a teacher to get there. So you and I can travel at different levels. So I want you to breathe in and gaze into your third eye and just think, number one, we're connecting psychically, and there's a powerful force moving through you that we're engaged in, and I'm just here as like a coach helping you train this energy to make it stronger, build it up inside. Two, you are lowering your brainwave frequencies and going into a deeper state simply by looking at your ajna chakra and releasing the peptides and creating the relaxation response like a natural biofeedback mechanism. And third, by stimulating this third eye point, you're also activating the Kundalini Shakti, and it's moving up your spine now. So just imagine this Kundalini flowing up the spine even as you're gazing at your third eye. And if your eyes flutter, twitch, or get sore, simply drop your gaze slightly, but continue your focus of attention at the point between the eyebrows. And you should feel some energy there. Just imagine you're hearing this sound of my voice at the point between your eyebrows. And just feel the energy moving up from the tailbone, from the root chakra, Muladhara, to Svajasthana, to Manipuram, to Anahata, Vishashuddha, all the way up to the Ajna chakra again. There's this flow moving up and then out, like the ends of a 1,000-petaled lotus. Your Kundalini is now extending from the inside outward and moving upward, like thousands of lotus leaves or petals beginning to open up, like the blossoming of a 1,000-petaled lotus. These thousands of petals are representing the thousands of axons that have been drawn down into a point in the center of your brain. And so the yogi is trying to describe the sensation of the Kundalini awakening and opening up your crown chakra was like that of a 1,000-petaled lotus of light, opening and awakening. And the Buddhas and the Shivas sit on top of the 1,000-petaled lotus, representing their transcendence over the mind. So I want you to continue to gaze at your third eye and just feel this life force energy moving up your spine. And just note that it's there. And now Swamiji has another device that is the Shaktipat through the gaze. So I invite you to open your eyes for just a moment and gaze into my eyes. And so the eyes are the windows to the soul. I just want you to be able to look into the core of my being and recognize the spirit that I am as I gaze into yours in the spirit of Namaste, recognizing the light within you that is you. And right now there's energy passing from my eyes into your eyes. Gaze into my eyes. The divine energy is passing from my eyes into your eyes. Your eyes are divinized, and from this day forward, more energy is going to continue to develop. You'll see the presence of God, and everything around you becomes good and pure. So breathe in and connect with that. This energy now meets the Kundalini. Close your eyes again, and just imagine I'm taking my thumb. So if I was doing the initiation in your presence, I'd put my thumb on your third eye, and I'd very slowly pull it upward to the top of your head. So now just imagine that. Imagine the energy. So as you're gazing at the point between the eyebrows, you're observing the sensation at the top of the head. And then just bring your right hand up for a moment. You can keep your left hand down, but I want to transmit some energy. So we'll do a virtual diksha. It's called when you do the blessing on the crown chakra. So observe the sensation in your palm, and then put your palm up above your head so the palm is facing downward over the top of your head. And very slowly drop your hand down before you touch your hair. See if you can feel the energy. Just kind of bounce your hand up and down a little bit. See if you can feel the cushion of energy above the top of your head. And then just make a few circles clockwise from the left forward to the right and back. So you'll feel an energy up here. And just know you are protected and guided by the divine in all your activities, day and night, in all places.
And now very slowly let your hand rest on the skull and the energy from your hand. So I'm past energy to your hand, and now from your hand into your head. So if I was in the room with you, if you come to a retreat or one of our seminars, I would place my hand on your head. Right now, this energy is moving from me to your hand to your hand to your head. So now bring your hand down and see if you can feel that. And just focus on the sensation at the top of your head. And slowly nod your head forward and back, as if you're nodding, yes, I understand. And observe the sensation at the top of your head. It just helps you feel that whirling, that funnel, as the Kundalini is moving up and out through the top of the head or coming down into the head. There is this energy vortex, a field, like a halo. So change the direction from forward and back to left and right. Just gently allow your head to kind of nod left and right. And observe the sensation at the top of the head. The whole point of it is for you to be aware of the subtle energy fields that are up there. We're not used to trying to feel anything at the top of our head. So taking a couple minutes to focus our attention at our crown will help activate the energy up there, and you'll begin to feel it. So next time your head comes to the left, let it move forward, to the right, and back, left, forward, right, and back, left, forward, right, and back. And you might imagine there's a pencil sticking out of the top of your head, and you're simply drawing a circle in the sky. So maybe 6 inches above your head, 6 inches around. Just imagine the energy spinning. Go ahead, left, forward, right, and back. Make a circle. And then tighten it into 5 inches. And then draw a circle. Your circle's just 4 inches in diameter. And then 3. So this is centering you, coming into your center point. Come into 2-inch circles. And then 1 inch. And then just come into the very center point. Spiral in to the very center point and be still at this point. And just take a deep breath. Roll your eyes up. Observe the sensation. Imagine the light at the top of your head. And go to Turiya. This is Turiya meditation. Close your eyes and observe the feeling at the top of your head. Observe the feeling. Sometimes it might feel like the hand is still up there, might feel heavy, might feel buzzy, might feel like the top of your head's been removed and like there's nothing up there. Maybe you feel nothing. But just observe the area, the very top of your skull, around the crown. If you were to place the crown on your head where that would touch your skull, just go up into this area and feel how this area is opening up. Feel the energy, picture the light, and now with your next breath, pull that light down into your body. And as you breathe out, feel it spreading out and extending out into all your extremities, all your vital organs, and just feel the energy around your body. Picture your entire body enshrouded in a cocoon of golden white light. And just soak in the feeling. Enjoy the feeling. Let this good feeling move into all your cells and into your brain, and like you're going to remember this and be able to come back to this. And my suggestion for you is that you meditate every day. Just come to selfawareness.com, get some free downloads, or practice. Just close your eyes, roll your eyes up, and connect. And this connection will grow, and the more it grows and stronger it gets, the better it'll feel, until you're transported into what are called the somatic states. First you'll feel this peacefulness of bliss, like samadhi, like the nivakalpa that comes later. First you'll get into the Layla Samadhi. You'll feel this like almost a drunken state or a trance-like state. And then you'll go to these places that are beyond the experiencer. You're ready. This is the time. Take a deep breath and feel your destiny unfolding. Feel that you're on track. Feel the love and peace and joy, which is your own abiding nature. And as you breathe out, let's send this love to those you love. Bless your family. Bless your friends, people you work with too, and bless all those that need blessing. Remember, we're going to neutralize anger by sending love to all those that need love, including world leaders and anyone else we might have a judgment about. Let's just send love to ourselves, and may the whole world live in peace. May the whole world live in peace. Let's send love to all the people of this world. See them enlightening. Seeing a world where we all loved each other, where we all felt like this, where we all connected with the Shakti, where we all enlightened. Take a deep breath. Picture a world where there's just no more war. Picture a world where we didn't divide each other by our nationality or our gender or our religion. We all saw the spirit in each other. We all realized there was one creator, and we all aligned with the will of that creator and overrode the programming and the fear within our minds, individually and collectively. So people just wouldn't pick up a gun. We all worked to create the world that we all ultimately want to live in. We didn't have to fear each other. Our money went to do things that would be for the benefit of all people. And we'd put less attention on greed and power and fame and more on those things that make a difference for the greater good of the people of this world. Let's picture that age not just coming one day, but happening right here, right now. Happening within ourselves. An awakening of consciousness. And then we form the critical mass that is shifting the collective consciousness of humanity. Let's picture a world where we all lived in peace. Go ahead and rub your palms together. And then palm your eyes. And breathe in. And as you breathe out, just bring your hands down over your face a couple times. And as you inhale, go ahead and lift your arms up over your head. Stretch. And then come back down. And see if you can bring the feeling back with you. And stay with this feeling with your eyes open for longer. We're going to go back into the mind and into your life. Do so consciously, keeping the connection. And if you ever feel like the energy is waning a little bit, just have a little like 1 minute meditation where you just stop and connect and let me give you a little buzz. Let us share some energy together and keep you in that happy space, keep you in the love vortex or the Buddha field or the Christ consciousness or whatever you want to call it, just in that place of inner love and peace, the garden that is here on earth. Or as it says in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus describes the kingdom of heaven being spread out before man, but he sees it not. It's right here on earth. And so this is what we've come to realize. Is the kingdom of heaven is right here on earth. We have only to create it by realizing that God never left. The presence of God is within ourselves and within everybody and within everything, everywhere, all the time. And to bring out this higher awareness into what we think and say and do. We bring it into our work and our family and into our lives and share it with everyone, everywhere. This is how we're going to collectively raise the consciousness of the planet. One person at a time, one day at a time. Let it be with us. Let it begin right here. Let it begin right now. Amen.